All right. Hey guys, welcome to Behind the Shot. And this is a Wednesday today. And you know how it is with Wednesdays on Behind the Shot. For some reason, in the history of 8 weeks that we've been running this show, it's usually the Wednesdays that are the outliers. And I would have to say they turn out to be very fascinating episodes with really genuine characters and very talented artists. And so that means that I'm looking forward to this a bit more extra. And yeah, we have a great guest for today. So first, hi guys, welcome to your Hump Day and welcome to your Hump Day episode. This is actually our last Hump Day episode for season one, since this is our this is our last week, no? So right now we have Chum again on the show. He's always the earliest guy here, and they're good friends with our guest today. And for those who are joining us, welcome to Behind the Shot. Behind the Shot is the show where top visual storytellers share their best three shots. Yeah, I should stop saying three because it's rarely three. It's more than three now. Their best shots and the great stories behind them. And this has proven to be a very fascinating structure or recipe for discussion, whether it's instructional in nature or for inspiration. Getting a peek into the process and the mindset of our guests is really rewarding for those who are watching. So for those who have been keeping tabs and have been supporting the show, thank you. And thank you for being with us for the past 22 episodes. So this is our 22nd episode today. And that is, for myself, a big achievement. So thank you guys. And thank you for Deity microphones who have been with us since day one. They have been supporting me with, obviously, the gear that I have. And which I use in all sorts of assignments. So I use this D3 Pro for my for the show, for online talk shows. I also use their S Mic 2 for my vlogs, and they also use their lapels for my assignments. I brought that lapel to the Arctic and to the jungles of Thailand, and it's been amazing. I've tried and tested, so I rarely promote or recommend gear that I haven't really used or I haven't tested in the field. So check them out online, and if you feel up to it of trying Deity, let me know. I can always hook you up while we're still here, while we're in the show. But on top of that, I also want to thank Chum. I want to check who's always been here. I also want to thank Mabel, who perfect attendance, and I want to thank VJ Villafranca, who has helped us with the show, and Paco Guerrero and the guys at Grid, who has been with us supporting the show as well for the longest time. Now, I also want to sort of apologize for what happened in our episode last Monday with Shira Luna. Man, for some reason, I don't know what happened. We've had this love-hate relationship with YouTube, especially if it comes to video. YouTube has an algorithm that automatically detects copyrighted content, and they either block or suspend the account of anyone who's broadcasting it. And while that was a problem with guests who were cinematographers or videographers, I didn't expect that to be a problem for a photographer. And for some reason, the algorithm of YouTube picked up on the John and Yoko photos that Shira was showing, and they just cut us off. And that was again a testament to the love-hate relationship of YouTube. But I don't see a reason that we're gonna encounter that today. And on top of that, I also want to thank you guys for not just for the support for Behind the Shot, but I have been awarded an inclusion in the YouTube Partner Program, and yeah, that's why you probably saw your ads before this show. So thank you guys for keeping us afloat, and much love to everyone. And now, I've been very excited for this episode because I am a fan of our guests' work. I know I say that a lot, but the thing is, I made sure to choose artists who I keep in high regard. And this guy, our next guy, his work just really blows my mind. And he has done work not just for the fashion industry and also for portraits, but also for advocacies, and that is very much in line with what I do. So since we have so many people right now riding on both the Facebook account and for Facebook Live and the YouTube, maybe it's time to bring our guest out. Now, I want to remind everyone that our main platform is YouTube. So if you're there, then great. If you're watching on Facebook Live, I will be terminating that sort of teaser feed before probably the latter half of the show. So I will give you a notification if it's time to move. I'll give you a link. But if you can move to the YouTube account live link right now, all the better. The party's much fun there, and yeah, it's a tighter group. You can comment, and it's a lot easier for me to keep track of everyone's interactions. Right. Okay. So let's do this. Our guest for today, he is foremost a fashion photographer. Our guest has slowly cemented himself in the industry by way of shooting numerous fashion editorials and magazine covers for Esquire Philippines, Rogue, and several others. His transition to advertising came on the heels of the print industry's decline and has shot for Rustans, Bose Coffee, Shariol, and Harlan and Holden. But it is work with New York-based nonprofit Waves for Water that has kept his craft of photography relevant. Traveling as far as Mongolia, Honduras, to Nepal, and India, as well as countless provinces around the Philippines, he was able to take part in building a narrative for the humanitarian mission of Waves for Water. So, ladies and gentlemen of Behind the Shot, I would like to welcome our guest, Artu Nepomuceno. What's up, Artu?
What's up? Well, I guess before we start, I just want to say happy birthday, Noel. It was your birthday yesterday.
I was keeping that under wraps, but okay, thank you very much, Artu. It's a different view now, coming from level 38, but you know it is what it is. What do you call this? Okay, Artu, first thing, I find it very interesting that your name is that of a very lovable and adorable astromech droid. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah, I get that a lot. Actually, that's the fastest way for me to tell someone what my name sounds like or how you, because a lot of people say Arthur or Arthur. So like I just say, yeah, just like the Star Wars character.
Like the droid.
Yeah, so my whole name is very long. My whole name is Jose Arturo Luis Antonio. Plus my last name and everything else. So my mom is a Star Wars fan in her own way.
Really?
And
That's so
you know,
cool.
as we grew up, we just kind of just rung that I became Artu.
Right.
So yeah.
That's interesting. We have a question here. We have a comment from Waki Santiago. Go R2. From Regil Medistomas. Idol ko po yan si R2. And from Chum. Let's start with this.
Oh my gosh.
Familiarity talaga. R2, which Monte teacher would you say was instrumental to your decision to make photography as your profession? Miss A, Miss R, Mr. Rod. Wow, inside jokes, Chum. Thank you for that.
Oh man. Okay. Since Noel, I know you're good friends with Chum, one of your closest friends. Well, you know what? I have to say that Chum was actually one of the big reasons why I got into photography.
Really?
Yeah. If Chum, this is your first time hearing it, then great, it's live. No take backs. But Chum is I think I was still in high school when he started doing his photography a little bit seriously. And then I remember he released a set on Multiply of Wolfgang.
Oh my
God.
Yeah,
with Basti Artadi. It was a black and white series, and I remember I just super fell in love with that series of his. It kind of super hit me, and it kind of just cemented the idea that I wanted to take photography seriously. So yeah, and then for the other two people, RG Velas Thomas is actually one of the best photographers in my opinion in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gago ka talaga, RG. And it's nice to see Wacky online. I haven't seen you in a couple of months, so good to see you. Good to hear from you.
Behind the Shot brings everyone together. Okay, wait. Let me backtrack to that thing with Chum. Yes, I was about to ask you because Chum, that set of Basti Artadi photos of Wolfgang, I was directing an episode for a music show that I was producing way back when, and Wolfgang was my guest. So I was directing their show, and I remember asking Chum to come on over and shoot that. Be the still man for that. So wow, You
Full
know,
circle.
I know that the world is really getting smaller and smaller. So yeah, from Chum, wow, multiply. I shot that set with Noel. There you go. And yeah, I remember that because I'm a big Wolfgang fan, and having them there on that show, that's yeah, that was a surreal experience. And Chum taking that photo and then inspiring you, that's cool. And then you're
Yeah,
here.
it's
Wow.
full circle. And not to mention that you know, at that time I wasn't too familiar with Wolfgang's music. Actually, I don't think I knew Wolfgang too well until I actually saw that photo set, and then I started studying their music. And then my wife now and her family, they're big fans of Basti and Wolfgang, and I guess it's just a full circle because Basti is now a really really good friend because I've had the privilege of shooting him. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty amazing, that aspect of the story.
Okay, guys, and that is that for the episode today. That wala na, you can't top that. Okay, so guys, behind the shot is a show really that we started mainly to give a sort of entertainment for those who are in lockdown, and at the same time amplify the work of the guests that we feature. So if you guys aren't familiar yet with the work of Artu, head on over to Instagram Artu Nepo and follow him there. I assure you, you're gonna get blown away, and you're gonna
Oh,
be
thank you.
rewarded with the work that he has done. And I forgot as well to, for context on why I do this and why I host this show, you can also head on over to Instagram and check out my work. It's more
Yes.
parallel to what Artu shoots for Waves for Water. We do have advocacies that we work on, and I think that's what kind of brought us together for this episode. So yeah, check us out on Instagram, Artu Nepo and Noel Guevara Photo. Artu, do you have any other social media accounts that you want to plug? Is it you have Vimeo, YouTube? Go ahead, just do it.
I think Instagram's pretty cool. That's fine by me. I guess if I would promote anything right now, my wife and I are running this platform called the Human Vending Machine. It was a project that I started in college. We basically, strangers submit anything that they want to vent about, and I connect those anonymous vents to people that I think would be able to help, and then
Wow.
they would give advice anonymously. So you can find that on Instagram at the Human Venting Machine. Venting as in
That
VENTING.
is galing. And your
Yeah.
wife is also a photographer. So
Yes.
I saw her work. I follow her on Instagram. So follow her as well, Meg Manzano. And I know you guys work together a lot for Waves for Water. So that it would be good to see that, that dynamic. And from It's Brian Steve, let's go, Sir Artu. That's our QB. What's a QB?
Quarterback. So I'm part of a flag football team
Ah,
in
okay.
Alabang. So yeah.
Okay, and then from Mabel, second to the last episode, might catch this on replay. We'll be hiking a trail in a while, so excited to watch the wisdom behind R2's awesome work. All right, let's get started, guys.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so we have four sets for you guys. We'll go through them one by one, and then R2 will take us through them, guide us, and please, if you have questions, ask them, and R2 and I will try our best to answer. But more than anything else, just enjoy the show, and yeah, you're gonna love it. Okay, so for our first set, R2, can you set this up for us?
Sorry.
We're doing
It
the
I can't see it.
yeah. Before I show it, you
Okay,
can
okay.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. So this next set was actually I can say it was my baby project for Esquire. Um, uh, Clifford Olanday, who is like one of the most genuine people that I know in the industry. Um, we were doing the shoot with the mayors, and he asked me, we need a cover for next month."
Okay.
And I told him, you know, when he tells me that, that's usually it's not my place. I'm a contributing photographer, so it's not my position in Esquire to tell to suggest or have any authority to suggest who should be the next cover. So
Okay.
he told me we should do a cover. Who do you think we should do for the next cover? And at that time, Matteo Guidicelli, who has become like a really really solid friend of mine, just became a legitimate ranger. It was all
Scout
over the
Ranger.
news,
Yeah.
and yeah, Scout Ranger. So I really felt like he would be a perfect cover. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Mateo just became a Scout Ranger. I have a concept that I'd like to shoot. I'm a big fan of the Call of Duty cinematics. Of course, I didn't want to really say it in that manner, but that's kind of where I was going at. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna present you what I feel like will work,
Hmm.
and if you like it, then let's push for the cover. I'll make sure that we can put everything together. So there. This cover came out, and I'm super proud of it. Like I super love it because from the ground up, like I was able to be as collaborative as possible.
Right.
Suggested from the suggestions to what he would wear, to the layouts, with to the special effects we'd be doing, and
Right.
uh and everything. So yeah.
Okay. For the context of those guys watching, because I'm a big military fan as well. I'm into World War II reenactment and everything. So the Scout Rangers are one of our best trained forces and of the army, and they are like how would you say, the Green Berets or the Delta Force of the Philippines. Riding alongside that would be our NAVSOG, which are like the Navy SEALs for with the Navy.
Yeah.
So being able to achieve, I mean the qualification and the selection for this is no joke, man. So the fact that Mateo was able to do this, that in
Yeah.
itself is a big deal,
Yeah.
right?
It was just like it was you know he did get a lot of criticism for because he's a celebrity, and
Mm-hmm.
people just didn't find it like possible, I guess,
Right.
with the stereotype of being a celebrity. But I think Mateo is one of the most genuine people I know, and um, when we sat down before the shoot and talked about the training that he went through and everything, it was just so real, and it was so nice that we were able to really catch up and talk about the experiences, because when we did the shoot, like it kind of just changed a little bit on the way I photographed him.
Okay.
There was, when you photograph people who are familiar with being in front of the camera, sometimes you don't need to even give like a certain thought process for them.
Okay.
It's just automatic for them to generate poses. So Mateo being so familiar with being in front of the camera, usually I don't give any direction, but because this was more related to his experience in the training,
Mm-hmm.
it was a different approach. We spoke about what he went through, the training that he had to go through, and I feel like in the photos we were able to pull that through.
Okay. And plus, you have that added, I guess, advantage that it's not just some actor or model putting on like a BDO and a plate carrier. It's someone who actually went through it. So you have that level of authenticity, right? That was
Yeah.
coming off of the guy.
Yeah, actually, in terms of authenticity, I before the shoot, I contacted a couple of friends to borrow their fake guns, pellet guns, whatever guns that I
The
could find,
airsoft guns.
whatever,
Yeah.
or airsoft guns, whatever, like anything that looked like a real gun, even if it was just a prop.
Mm-hmm.
So I borrowed those. I brought them to the shoot, and then I kept them in a corner. And then I spoke to David Milan, who's Mateo's stylist, and I said I wanted to shoot him with guns, and
Okay.
I was wondering if you were able to get. And he goes, "Oh yeah, there's someone coming here with real guns." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Right. So during the whole shoot, like he was carrying like the real guns, and like we were joking around the whole time that there were a lot of shots where the gun was really pointed at me, and
Right.
even if there was no bullets inside, like I was sweating in that insane nightmare what if situation. So yeah,
But
it
yeah,
was
they came
interesting.
out really well, man.
Thank you.
For that look that you were going for, what kind of preparation in terms of the set, in terms of production design? I noticed you have simulated smoke and everything. So
Yeah.
yeah, can you talk more about that?
So when we were gonna do this shoot, initially I had in mind was, of course, like a war zone. But when I was drawing up and looking for pegs on
Mm-hmm.
how it would look good, I realized that you're photographing someone as recognized as Mateo. If I do a full set, or if I put him in some maximalist set, then I might just drown him out.
Right.
So I wanted to I of course wanted to focus back at Mateo and his achievement.
Mm-hmm.
So realizing that it came down to the clothes, which David Milan of course always does fantastic at, and the clothes and purely on Mateo. But the number one rule that we discussed was we have to make Mateo look dirty,
Right.
because Mateo's like a really clean
Yeah, yeah,
guy,
yeah, yeah.
like
I get
he
what you mean.
so I wanted, like, in terms of lighting, to really show shadows. I told Mateo, like, a week or more before, that I said, hey, don't shave, don't don't
Right.
don't don't shave anything, like, let everything grow, um let that facial hair come out and everything.
You
So
need
we
that
wanted to
dungis,
make,
yeah.
yeah, so exactly that. So with Mateo being already, his look was already good, the outfit was really good. In terms of set, there was barely any setting up that I really needed to do
Mm-hmm.
to make it work. It was very minimal elements to just complement Mateo, and basically to shot in plain backgrounds. And I had a smoke machine, just to give that little touch here and there, to give a little bit of haze.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see, like, the lighting is pretty much all, like, as dramatic as I could push,
Right.
and still showed it to Mateo.
That's great because one thing I noticed when you get models and actors photographed for setups like this one thing comes to mind if you watched Tears of the Sun with Bruce Willis and Monica
Yes,
Bellucci, and then the
yes,
one thing that we always had a comment on was because Monica Bellucci looks so good, it's not believable because it's you don't
not
have that
believable.
yeah, you don't have that grit, and for this one is yeah, you nailed it on the head, and you also prepared. I love the diagrams. So
Oh, thank you.
are you this? I guess it's a ritual for you when you have your shoots. Do you do this? Do you map out everything?
Yes. Sometimes I don't go as far anymore as drawing it. I just have it in my head.
Right.
But there are a lot of times that, as I draw my lighting diagram, that's when I realize the effects that it's going to have.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it was something that we practiced in school, and I learned from a lot of photographers in the West that they also do this. So I'm not too fond of the current lighting diagram softwares that you can download. it's
Yeah.
it's just sometimes it's too complicated for my liking, and sometimes I just wanted to do a quick sketch and see what it'll look like by just drawing lines and stuff. So something that I usually do is I go through the pegs that I have, my archives of pegs that I have for different photo shoots,
Mm-hmm.
and when I find something that's most applicable for the particular shoot we're gonna do, I look at it, I study it, and I study how the light falls.
Right.
And when I understand how the light falls, I draw that up, and then I say, okay, what elements do I want from this particular shot and
Right.
this other particular shot? How do I marry that? So yeah. So whenever I have other workshops, also I also try to tell people, you got to draw.
Mm-hmm.
You got to draw, even if you're terrible at drawing. It's just really more of understanding where the light is going to fall, to get desired results. So yeah. So in these sketches, you can see that it's majority just like a bunch of lines with, like, arrows telling what they are. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't look like a softbox or anything, but it's my way of also showing my client, or whoever I'm reporting to, how I imagine the shot to look, and I
Mm-hmm.
try to make it as, I guess, user friendly as possible.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't understand what an octabox will do,
Mm-hmm.
or what a snoot will do. So I put that for in my drawings. I put that for my reference, or for my
Right.
team, who's going to create the shot. But for the clients, I kind of just explain, okay, this is how the light's going to fall.
Right.
and everything.
Okay.
When it comes to like the lighting, like there my focus is always the main light
Mm.
and the eyes, like how the how I can reflect from the main light for the eyes. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see here the catch lights here. You know,
Yeah.
really stand out. From Michael R. Galvez saying hi, and then from hi from Jem, and then Adrian Sola, idol ko po yan si Artu, siya po nagturo sa akin paano gumamit ng lighting. And do you move around with a big team, R2, for shoots like this one? Are you, you carry a lot of lighting equipment? Uh,
Yes, I carry a Kia Soul. This is not an ad, but I super love my Kia Soul. So I have a Kia Soul, a 2010 Kia Soul, and it's me plus a team of two.
right,
Sometimes I also bring sometimes my wife and her assistant also comes with. So sometimes a car is with five people,
right.
and then I have a gigantic trunk full of with two lights, another with another set of lights. Sometimes I carry two backgrounds, like a full pack studio is in
Wow.
my car, and we're all just kind of like shoulder to shoulder, yeah, except for me since I'm driving. But yeah, everyone's just super cramped. I feel like those clown cars where you just kind of just push everyone in.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
so that's kind of like my set. That was my setup before the pandemic.
Okay, and I remember seeing a video, a behind the shot video of even the savage backgrounds you have it in. You can actually fit it in that car, so that's amazing.
Yeah.
From Carlo, from sorry, Luella Claridad saying hi, and then Carlo Delantar, hi R2, and Noel, uh,
What's up, Carla?
Mitch De Leon, cool conversation. Nice to hear Artu Nepomuceno. Okay, so how much input did Mateo have here? For some reason, the only thing I can remember of Mateo right now is how he opened his PS4. But you know what? But did he have any contribution? Like, for example, was it a collaboration? There you go, between the two of
Yes.
you for this one.
100%. I think I genuinely believe that there's no such thing as like a solo act nowadays when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to photography. Like it's always almost 100% a collaboration with at least one other person.
Right.
With Mateo, like I think it's my job as a photographer to be able to create the visuals for someone, for other people.
Right.
So for Mateo, like the collaboration in his end wasn't so much on how the lighting should be or how or what elements should be in the shot, but it was more like him telling me what he went through
Mm-hmm.
and me doing my best to translate that into visuals. So his
Well said.
words,
Yeah.
my eyes, basically. Um, what that I think that's for me. That's why it's very important that every shoot, especially for a magazine that we do, I do my best to have the interview be done first, and I get to sit in the interview
Yeah.
because I want to hear the story. I want to understand. I don't want to rely on what the internet says. I
Okay.
want to hear what people say firsthand, and at the same time, kind of just see what words they say that tick certain emotions.
Yeah.
Like not everyone reacts the same way to certain words or certain experiences. So like with Mateo, like he spoke about the training in so much with so much confidence, as if it was something that he could really do. But the caliber or the intensity of his training was just, for me listening to it, was out of this world. But so it's, I guess, in a way that helps me pinpoint on how to photograph a person, or
Right.
like, do I know this person's extremely confident, or not overconfident, but confident enough to look at the camera straight and be able to retell the story as seen in the shots.
Okay.
Mateo was so determined with everything that he's doing.
And I guess because of the way you approach that project or all the projects, it gives you that level of familiarity with the no with the situation and the character. And that's what I
Yeah.
always tell everyone when I do workshops. Research is always the backbone of any successful project, and that is basically how R2 does it. And yeah, it's a no, it's a very unique approach. It's a very photojournalistic the way you approach your cover shoot. So wow, that's
Thank
interesting.
you.
And from Takeshi Shinohara, idol ko din po. Hi from
Oh my god.
Japan, R2.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
So
that's cool.
these guys are my entourage. These guys were the entourage for my wedding.
Talaga. Which brings me to another point. The way we met Artur, the way I just not even discovered, no, I got the idea was also because I featured Jason Magbanwa on this show during our wedding storytellers week, and then one of the videos that he showed, I don't know if he told you, was your wedding with and yours and Meg, and it was amazing. I really liked the treatment for that. So after that, I was
Yeah.
like, hey Jason, can you get me in touch with R2, who seems to have fallen off the grid. I couldn't find him on Instagram or on Facebook because we were also sort of in touch in a way because of Shelter Fund. I'm not sure
Right.
if you
Yes.
remember, right? So we were both
Yes.
participating there. So yeah, so that's pretty interesting. Now, guys, if you are liking this video, this interview with R2, and not you're on YouTube, where the cooler people are, please do like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell. This series of Behind the Shot stays on YouTube forever, unless of course R2 decides to let's take it down, let's do another one. But it stays there mainly as a sort of resource to other photographers who want to be inspired. So I'm seeing just 5 likes right now. So guys, everyone here, Takeshi, Adrian, Jem, Michael, Wacky, Dominique, and Chum, and Brian Steve, please do give a like. Help a brother out, and yeah, that's how it's gonna go. Okay, now I would say that this next set is very different from your Mateo set, but it
Yeah.
was so relevant, politically and socially relevant when it came out.
Right.
And people were asking well, for me, people were asking who photographed this and so on, and then we discovered eventually that it was you. So I will show these photos right now, and they are amazing photos. And I remember having this conversation with Paco Guerrero. Do you know Paco?
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah, so
course.
Paco and I were saying, I told Paco,
Super look up
man,
to him.
I was like, Psycho Paco, this guy, so amazing the way that he worked on DC mayors, and he's like, yeah, he's like the new hotness right now when it comes to photography.
Oh,
So, what was the road like going into this project?
well, first I have to say that hearing those really kind words from someone like Paco, that means a lot. Before I jump into that, like people like Jason Magbanwa, Paco Guerrero, these people have always been people that I've always looked up to. So being able to call them friends and people that who know my work, and I get to have conversations about work, that for me has been like one of the big highlights of this journey.
Mm-hmm.
And not to mention that when Jason shot our wedding, that was kind of just like like bomb dropped. It was just an amazing experience, and it was just so great. Anyway, so the journey with these three mayors. So again, Clifford Olanday, who again, amazing person, messaged me and said, "Okay, our next cover is going to be three mayors."
Okay.
And the first thing I said is, "You're going to be able to get three mayors in one location on in like one time frame." He said, "No, it's going to be 3 different days." And I was like, "Okay, that's not normal for a cover shoot in the Philippines. You don't usually have the schedule or the time frame to be able to shoot 3 covers."
Yeah.
And immediately when he told me it was going to be 3 covers, um, my immediate panic was going to be, how am I going to make it coherent with each other? These are 3 different people, 3 different locations. So we shot every mayor in their city, of course. So um, with that being said, it was a challenge in terms of location. No area in Manila looks really exactly the same, and of course I didn't want to go with as simple as like a plain wall for the whole shoot.
Of course.
So Our first shoot was Francis Zamora, followed by Isko Moreno, and then followed by Vico Soto. Um, uh, they were all these mayors are all great people in their own different way, and I have to say that they're all very different.
Okay.
Um, do you want me to talk about each experience?
Yeah, sure. Well, off the bat, no, I'm gonna say that I'm from Pasig, so I'm rooting for Vico when when I saw
Right.
this set, right? But before you go to that, what made you choose this kind of treatment or style? Very mid-century. You have that harsh flash.
Right.
What went into what was the inspiration for this?
Actually, the inspiration to push for this came from the first experience, which was Mayor Francis Zamora. So we went to a location and I saw it, and um, uh, where we were shooting was not at all in any way. I have to say my style of photography, at least.
Mm,
Like it was a very lifestyle setting.
right.
Not nice window light. Outdoors, nothing dramatic about it. And I honestly, if I have the hardest time shooting lifestyle, if the lighting is like not not my way.
Okay.
Um, so I saw this, and I needed to find an element that would make it work. So for each mayor, the first layout was always going to be on a white background, which was just basically my reflector, and a flash unit through an umbrella on one side.
Okay.
So creating that nice dramatic light. And I felt like that was enough already to create that uniting factor.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it was going to be an option, and I think it eventually did that. They laid it out side by side, all three mirrors. So
Yeah.
we had to have a plain background with that.
Okay.
And then when we did that, um, I looked at the shots of Francis, and I was like, this is going to look great in black and white. And I
Right.
said, you know what? Can I push for this look? And
Okay.
can I go for high grain a little bit of Terry Richardson, a little bit of, I guess, a little bit of film noir, a little
Right.
bit of, anything that could be referenced to an older time.
Okay.
So when we when with Francis, when we went inside the coffee shop that we were shooting in,
Mm-hmm.
um, I just decided I did different kinds of setup. In this particular shot that you can see, um, we were shooting completely daytime. So behind him is actually um,
Wow.
my reflector covering the windows,
Wow. Day for
and
night,
yeah, I didn't like how the light was falling, and because there were customers um dining inside the restaurant, so I couldn't ask also for them to turn off the lights or
right.
anything. So I didn't want to work with ambient light, and I didn't want to work with the outside light. It was just not balanced. So we put a cover, and I put my flash in front of me, and I just snapped that. And when I saw that, I kind of immediately knew that, okay, this is gonna be the look for all the mayors. So we
Okay.
had that plain white background. We had this, wherever we were determined to find a way to shoot it exactly like this, or at least same similar vibe. And then the third layout was always going to be the wild card.
Right.
So whatever worked in the setting. So the next mayor that we did shoot was Sir Isko, and I have to say that was by far my favorite from the three.
Right.
Not because of, not in any political point, but just because Isko was just so fun to shoot.
Okay.
Um, so he enters the he we were in Diamond Hotel, and he enters the room, and he immediately has this aura, this power, and entering the room. And I didn't exactly know how to approach the situation, because I've had several experiences before with politicians, and I've almost never really gotten the right tone of voice or the right frequency to be able to
Mm-hmm.
relate to them.
Right.
It could be an age gap thing. It could be that I am not as active in politics. I don't
Right.
have a strong opinion in it. but there was just that gap. So he enters the room, he gets his makeup done by John Cutico, and he's there and he's pretty serious in the conversation, and then we jump into the first layout, which is the white background. And it was a perfect warm up back layout, because it's just a plain white background, lighting is very simple,
Yeah.
and basically he just has to look straight at me.
Mm-hmm.
So we did that, got that. I was pretty happy with it, I guess, but not, I knew I could do more.
Mm-hmm.
But I had the hardest time connecting to him. So next layout was this setup where we sat him down, and if you notice, somewhat in Francis Amores and East Coast, we managed to kind of put a redundancy in certain elements. So in Francis, we had the stacked cell phones. In
Okay.
this one, we had the stacked cups. So
Okay.
it wasn't in any
Right.
way trying to relate to them, but it just a nice added element, I guess, to not making the set too simple.
Yeah.
So Mayor Isko sat down, and the first how many shots of this particular layout weren't working. Like it never came out, and it was just not working at all. And
Was there
then
panic inside when you were shooting that? Were you feeling
I
some
guess
panic?
so. You can also see after clicking how many times, you can start to see, especially with this kind of lighting setup where the flash is really in your face.
Right.
Like I could see that I was already making him uncomfortable, and I didn't have the right tone of voice to make him really want to work with me.
Okay.
And then by some godsend, uh, his phone rang,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the Godfather theme, the song in
Right.
Godfather. It
Right.
played,
Right.
and then he was on the phone, and then he put it down. He said sorry, and when I heard the ringtone, I immediately knew. I was like, okay, I know how to talk to him. So I looked at him and I was like, Sir Isko, I want you to look at the camera as if I owe you a lot of money and I cannot pay you back. And then boom, this shot, this
That
cover,
was
I'm
it.
not
Yeah.
kidding you, was the first shot. It was just
Wow.
it was intense power all of a sudden, and I just loved this shot. Really, like, it felt like a magical moment, because I felt like I achieved the right tone of voice to talk to him. So he looked at me, and every shot that followed was intense. Like, it was so good. He has a shot where he's grabbing that mug of coffee,
Right.
and then he's drinking. He's looking at me straight, dead serious. And then we review the shots, and he's so happy with it that he goes back to his seat, and we do more, and uh,
Galing. Ah.
and and it was just so fun. So after that, it was already so flowy. threw out the I threw out the request of, can we go to the roof deck of Diamond Hotel.
Right.
So we went to, which was not really technically a roof deck. It was more of like an abandoned or an unused tennis court. So we went there, and as we were going up the steps, uh, it was a spiral staircase, which had this shot,
Yes.
which had like a little roofing of steel matting.
Right.
He was just walking up there, and I saw that shot, and I was like, I couldn't take it, because there were people behind him, people in front of him as we walked upstairs. But I saw that particular frame
Mm-hmm.
in my head as we were walking up. And it's like, oh shit, I gotta go back there. So we go up, and we're all set. We're all chilling up there, and we're about to start. And I say, sir, can we go back to just the stairs? I mean, can you go there? And
Yeah.
we go down there. I go to the exact place where I saw it, and I asked him, can you look at me? And it wasn't working. And I said, okay, just move a little bit this way and look out. And there, it was just the fall of shadow, the silhouette plus the steel matting. This
Galing.
became immediately my favorite shot of this whole cover story.
Yeah, I
So
would
we
have
go
to say, yeah.
upstairs. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, no, I would have to say that this is my favorite of the set as well. Galing. And it's just like, medyo serendipitous siya, no? It just all came together.
Yeah. I think, like, because of the experience with Isko, uh, and the whole Godfather vibe, it really paved the way in terms of my editing. I knew exactly how to edit all of the sudden. Like I had an idea, but because of that vibe I got and that sense of power that I felt, I knew that there had to be some sense of Mad Men to it,
Mm-hmm.
and the editing just had it had to feel like, Catch Me If You Can, all of
Right,
these
right.
classic
40s,
movies,
50s,
and
60s, yeah.
yeah, and so the next layout, this one with Diamond Hotel in the back, it was just really like, it was so easy. I just asked him to walk and kept on clicking it, and he just knew exactly. What was so great was Sir Isko kept on looking at my camera after every layout, and he understood where I was getting
What
at,
you were
and I
getting.
was
Okay.
giving the right terminologies already. I already saying Godfather,
Right.
Al Pacino, and all of that. So he knew how to pose, he knew how to set himself up, and all I had to do was really just click. And then
Okay.
in the editing process, it was just so simple.
Okay, so Arto,
Now,
I'm going to
yeah,
ask you, sorry. Is it happenstance also that when you decided on that Godfather Catch Me If You Can, very mid-century style or treatment, it seems that it worked your way that everything contributed to that look, like that back, the Diamond Hotel, and
yeah,
then the architecture, and even I have to say, even uh, the stuff on the table and the curtains all work towards that style or treatment that you just happen to sort of discover right then and there. So it
right.
all worked together.
It did. It really did. But I guess in a way, when I photograph, the way I crop or the way I frame things is always going back to that era of photography or that
Mm-hmm.
timeline.
Right.
So like I think in a general sense, my style of photography is very much coherent to how this cover story came out. So like all the elements that did become part of the shoot was naturally perfect already with the editing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's also because like whenever I shoot, it's my personal rule. Whenever I shoot anything, I try as much as possible to not make it look modern. I don't. It's maybe just something that I'm not really into, but I don't really like seeing anything that looks like it's off today. So
Yeah.
I want everything to look old,
That's
basically.
interesting because it doesn't if you do that on purpose, it doesn't look or feel dated. Also, no, it just really is the. It
True.
seems like it's part of the theme. So we have some comments here. I just want to read them out. And from from Bea Limhoco, first time to hear about R2. Love this set of photos. Bea is my niece. And Carmen Del Prado, hi R2. Love this series. Thank you, Carmen.
Thank you.
Carmen was also a guest on the show. From Joan Teotico, always an honor to work with you, R2. The Esquire Philippines cover shoots of Mayor Isko, Vico, and Francis is truly unforgettable. Unforgettable, sorry. And from your wife, love, love, love that shot with the shadow on Isko's profile. So I agree. And Michael Galvez, this shot is hella incredible.
Thank
And
you, guys.
Bea again, very nice shots of Mayor Isko, got goosebumps, no kidding. And
Oh,
from Dodong,
that means a lot.
I love the series. It looks so vintage. And initially, I thought they were photos of President Manuel Quezon, which I also thought are too.
Oh wow, that does mean a lot. Like if anyone references old photos, that will always come off as one of the greatest compliments I could get. The one of the people who did comment, Joan Titico, she was actually the makeup artist of
Wow, great
this
work, John.
series. Yeah, so she's fantastic. She and I have been working hand in hand in almost every Esquire cover, so she's amazing.
From Angelo Adrao, if R2 wasn't single, I'd snag him from Meg.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so tell us naman about the
Jello.
shoot with Vico.
So Vico is a very young guy. So he was definitely the easiest to talk to. We were kind of like just bros on set.
Yeah.
That was kind of the setup we were getting up. What I can say about Vico is he's so passionate
Okay.
about making things better. I think I can just put it at that, like as simple as it is. He wants to make things better. So
Genuinely, yeah.
yeah, genuinely. So he's a tall guy, and so we were shooting around. I won't identify what subdivision we were at, but we were shooting in a subdivision, and um, when we were shooting around a basketball court, a football field, and I was talking to him, and you're like, so you're pretty tall. Like, did you play basketball as a kid? I said, yeah, I used to play basketball in this court actually. So he
Oh my
kind,
god.
so
I think I know what
it
you're
was it
talking
was
about.
so it was nice when he said that. I immediately knew that, okay, if he used to play basketball here, he's very at home in this area.
Right.
So I can make that means I can probably make him do anything. So we walked around. We This particular shoot, since he's also pretty laid back, we were able to go around and explore and shoot multiple layouts. So with Mayor Vico, we were able to do more than just three layouts. We really moved around, maybe got like five or six layouts out of it, and he was super game.
Mm-hmm.
Every layout was different. He was particularly, I guess, challenging, to the most challenging in terms of following the theme,
Mm-hmm.
just because he's a young guy, um, and that he's cleaner than in terms of
Yeah.
face than everyone. So shooting him was a little bit challenging in comparison to the others to fit to the theme, but nonetheless, he was really fun to shoot. Um, he was very easy to talk to, and like when we were shooting, like for like particularly my favorite layout was actually the first one in the white background. So I do this thing whenever I shoot people who actually it doesn't matter whenever I shoot people in general. When I see that there is a physical strain on their eyes, either from the lighting or from the date, from daytime, or just being maybe camera shy or something, what I tend to do is I ask them to just close your eyes, listen to my voice, and I want you to when I count to three, I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to open them as slowly as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And when they open it slowly, when they open it, they have this there's this moment where they focus on the camera very, very with all their attention. Like when you open your eyes and you're looking for something, so
Mm-hmm.
they finally find the middle point of the camera and the lens, and that's the point where I shoot. And when they're at that moment with me, sometimes I might throw in like an idea in their head low. So I'll be like, I want you to, with Mayor Vico, I asked him, like, I want you to think about your younger days when you were playing basketball as a kid. So I want you to focus on particular memories
Yeah.
and envision those memories into the camera. So rather than it being a relationship between me and my subject, it becomes a relationship between my subject and their memories.
Right.
So
Okay.
it becomes a little bit more intimate, and I just become responsible in making them think that way. But it's very hard to be able to create a relationship in 10 minutes with someone. So
That's true.
sometimes it's just better to make them think about particular memories.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that works for me.
Okay, so your approach to directing is directing the emotion and not the reactions of, or the what you see. It's that's
Yeah.
you focus on the motivation, and it's funny because that's why the locations looks so familiar for Vico. Yeah, we're both from the same village, so
Oh, there you go.
there you go. All
There you
right.
go.
Okay, so that wow, I have to say that it was an oversight on my end not to include the cover. So I while you were talking, I
Oh,
actually
there
searched
you
for
go.
the cover, and this is it. This is the cover that Esquire did,
Yes.
and they had all three together. What was the decision to make? What was the thinking behind the decision to make it a cover of three mayors and not four or not two? Why these
I
three
think
mayors?
I think what the Esquire team was thinking was really people who were probably like shaking the ground at the moment. We
Mm,
shot this when they were, if I'm not mistaken, we shot this before before they became mayors. And I think it was still we were still in the process of like voting, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not 100% sure anymore of the timeline
yeah.
on when we shot them, but um I think Esquire did a fantastic job because when this cover came out, each of these mayors did became they did become headliners.
Right.
Like Isko was like everywhere. Vico, Francis, they just became
Galing.
they really hit the mark. I had no input in terms of like that decision, but I have to say that I'm very lucky that they trusted me to shoot them. And yeah, these people like they really made the difference immediately after when they got into office.
Okay. Wow, that's great. And so, guys, again, so if that doesn't give you enough reason to head on over to Instagram and follow R2, the astromech droid, head on over and follow him there. And of course, if you are new to the YouTube account or the link, please go on over and subscribe, like the video, and hit that notification bell as well. Uh, Carlos Sangria, I'll be popping up in the background soon. Look for me, R2's window.
He
Okay.
lives down the road, so there's very high chance it's possible.
This is getting more and more interesting. Okay, so again, please visit us on Instagram, R2 Nepo, and then Noel Guevara Photo. Yeah, help a brother out, support us, and follow us there. And of course, like, subscribe, and hit the notification on my YouTube channel. All right, so let's go ahead and take a step back, R2, from the portraiture and from, we haven't gone into fashion yet. But let's focus more on your advocacy, which is Waves for Water, which you're a
Right.
part of, and your wife Meg is a part of. So can you tell us a bit, for just for context, what Waves for Water is and what you guys do?
So, Waves for Water is an organization that provides peop people access to clean water.
Okay.
That I guess that's pretty much the simplest way I can explain it. But to explain further, the organization was founded by an American retired surfer named John Rose.
Okay.
Um, he had been traveling around the world uh, for his surfing trips for both competition and recreational surfing, and um, he, I guess, he was fated to do this because in in many disasters that did happen in the world, he found himself in those locations, and everywhere he had gone, he always brought these water filters to
Mhm.
just kind of give back to the community.
Okay.
So um, he experienced disaster after disaster. He realized that he can make this, he can do this as his life's mission. So John started Waves for Water, and um, it's been already 10 years um, worldwide, providing water filters almost around the whole world.
Mhm.
We've gone to so many places. I've had the privilege of going to places like Mongolia, Honduras, Nepal, India,
Mhm.
and of course around the Philippines, to provide communities that need access to clean water these filters. And not to mention that I am also very lucky that I get my wife and I are get to share this experience together. So Meg and I started in Waves for Water together. It started as when our country, Carla Delantar, runs who was running Waves for Water Philippines, was contacted by writer and editor Denise Alcantara before, and for Sudden Living, and she asked Carla if we could write a story about World Water Day, which was, if I'm not mistaken, 2013 or 2014.
Mhm.
Um, so we went to Bacolod for World Water Day, and we basically gave water filters. We did the
Right.
mission. We gave water filters to communities that need access to clean water, which was so. What's so great about Waves for Water is it's not a get money, buy products, and drop it in a site. It's not that. It's not. It doesn't run that way. So basically, we go to these difficult to reach locations, find a champion, teach them how to use the water filter,
Mhm.
and teach them how to make the community learn the values of clean water.
Okay.
So World Water Day in 2014 or 2013 happened, and Meg and I just immediately said, you know what, we want to be part of this. We want to be more serious. So Carla Delantar has become one of our closest friends ever since. He's our baby boss since he's younger than us. He's gonna hate me because I said that. Um, but he has really given us so many opportunities to help around the Philippines. We've been lucky to go around the whole Palawan, the far-reaching islands of Palawan, and Carlo also introduced us to John Rose, and from there we were able to get more international assignments. And funnily enough, Meg and I was able to propose to her in one of our Waves for Water missions. So,
Wow.
which was in 2018. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, galing, galing. Sobrang na-tie in yung ano, yung advocacy nyo. What let's get to the photos themselves, no. These obviously aren't from the Philippines, no. And you said that because of Waves for Water, you've been assigned to take photos of different communities. And where were these photos taken?
The what you're seeing in the set, this particular one was taken in India,
Mm-hmm.
in New Delhi. So when I go on my missions, or when I play the role of photojournalist rather than a portrait photographer or anything that has to do with the professional work, I think my lens kind of changes, my perspective on things. I Rather than focusing on the story of the person, I focus more on the who, what, where, when, why of
Mm-hmm.
wherever I am. So the series, this set of photos that you see is a mix of Nepal, India, Mongolia, and Honduras. The four international assignments I've had so far with the organization.
Nice.
So yeah, what's so great about being with Waves for Water is the mantra of Waves for Water is do what you love and help along the way.
Okay.
So with that, I have basically we don't Meg and I don't have restrictions with what we photograph. We photograph anything that we see fit, but at the same time, we're in certain locations that are hard to reach.
Mm-hmm.
We're with communities that tourists don't get access to. So these are genuine. These are a little bit more genuine people, and they are people that we are going to help. So there is that exchange. There is that agreement that I'm photographing you. I'm not stealing anything from you. We're here to
Mm-hmm.
help. Our mission is to help,
Right.
and primarily we go to a place and we're not with the intention of photographing you to expose a story and using you as the victim.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't run that way. In Waves for Water, we have this saying called disaster tourism. So basically, it's when you go to a location and you photograph something and of probably a disaster. You shoot something that's not good, and you make it look like you amplify it to post it online and sometimes to make yourself a hero.
Yeah.
So that's
And you
something that we
romanticize it
very
also
yeah
in a
you
way.
you by yeah by a lot. And so what we try to do as much as possible is whenever we photograph things, we try to make people look as genuine as possible. We
Yeah.
don't try to victimize them, and we in a way before we're shooting we have this mindset: is this going to benefit anyone other than ourselves? Is If I post it on Instagram, is it for my benefit,
Right.
or is it going to help these people?
Okay.
So yeah, so um Meg and I have been very lucky to be able to go to these places and yeah, shoot these
Yeah,
amazing
it's
stories.
amazing. What do you call this? So, if there is one thing that you would want everyone else to know about water, if there's one thing that you wish more people knew about water and water as a crisis, what would that be?
Oh, that's one thing to um I think when it comes to water particularly, me being a victim of kidney stones myself, and numerous cases of water and food poisoning, um, I am fortunate enough to be able to have access to bottled water, to purified water from the
Right.
comfort of my home.
Okay.
These people that we venture to and help don't have that as a regular thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, their system of cleaning water is usually rain catchment systems, boiling water, or sometimes deep wells,
Okay. Very
and
rudimentary. Yeah.
yeah, it's never a 100% clean situation.
Right.
As an example, in in the Philippines, we did this mission with Tao Expeditions.
Mm-hmm.
We went around the different remote islands around Palawan, and we came across one island that had three or four deep wells, and in all of those deep wells, the wells sourced their water from the spring. So that meant that, but that by definition itself meant that it was somewhat fresh water. It
Yeah.
came from a spring. But in each of those wells, right beside them, where there is where the pigs were, is
Mm-hmm.
where goats were,
Mm-hmm.
and all around, like I kid you not, around every well was animal manure,
Right.
and that by itself causes the bacteria, all forms of bacteria for the stomach and for the human body. That mixing in water, the human body is incapable of filtering it to the certain extent of the mixture of how much manure goes into the water.
Okay.
So, but to these people, the people living in those islands, it's not that they're not aware; it's that they don't have a choice. So these islands, some of the islands that we did go to, we asked them like, how do you filter your water? Sometimes they'll say that they'll boil. Sometimes they just take it straight. And then we asked them, if your water is really bad, like how do you access clean water? Being a remote island from and being pretty far from the known cities of Palawan.
Right.
And they would just say, we would have to get one local champion who would
Mm-hmm.
get on a boat and who would take a 40-minute boat ride to the next island in hopes that that island had bottles of water.
Right.
If they didn't, then he'd have to go back and venture the next day to another island.
Right.
So, I think, if anything that I would tell the viewers, anything is, you really can't take clean water for granted.
Right.
A lot of people don't have access to that.
Right.
People have access to water, but not clean water.
That's true. So we take that for granted because everything's so convenient, everything is accessible for us. But for a lot of communities, it actually isn't, and it is a struggle. And that is what you guys do, right? You give them access to that, and that's good. One thing I have to ask now is that let's go to the technicals of this, R2. While looking at your photos right now, I just correct me if I'm wrong. I'm seeing a mix of at least just two focal lengths. Like you have
Wow.
35s and 50s.
I love that
Um,
it's a photographer asking me these questions because he's
yeah.
correct.
Okay, cool. So wow, great. Uh, what is that a choice? Is that are these two focal lengths what you focus on when you are out shooting like this photojournalism? If that's your role, you focus on just two, or is that a conscious decision?
Actually, in general, I really only have two lenses.
Really?
Um, for my work, for everything that I do, I only carry a 35 millimeter and a 55. Um, the 55 and 35 are the Carl Zeiss lenses for the Sony. I
Mm-hmm.
carry a Sony A7R Mark II, and I carried 35 and a 55. And before I switched to Sony, I was running on Canon, which I did carry the bulky 24 to 70,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt like a pro carrying it, but I can't say that I created professional shots with it. I think it was really a matter of like I just had too many options.
Yeah.
I could move one at the time, which I kind of hated.
Yeah.
I think I I like following street photographers with their ruling, that you just carry one prime
Yes.
lens, and I truly believe in one of my idols is actually Robert Capa.
Yeah.
So he has that saying that if your photos aren't good enough, that you're not close enough.
Yeah.
So I've always run on that rule that if I'm not happy with my focal length from where I'm standing, rather than zooming in, I'll just go closer,
Yeah.
or I'll go farther away.
Yeah.
And
That
it's
it's more
made
immersive
it's
also, I
made
know.
yeah, it's
It's
made my
very
work
cool.
much easier.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to switch lenses. I don't intimidate who I'm shooting because I'm carrying something small.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, when all the assignments that majority of the assignments that I've done for wastewater, I actually just carry the 35 to keep things as small and as minimal as possible,
Right.
so that I'm pretty much invisible to them.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Galing. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Cause so you're more of a prime lens person rather than zoom
one hundred
lens.
percent,
Okay.
100%.
Yeah, and I have to say I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but yeah, when I was using Sony, the, I actually really liked the 55. Was it a 1.4
It's
or
amazing.
1.8? Yeah, that's my
One
favorite.
1.8. Yeah.
Yeah, 1.8. Yeah, that was when I was on the Sony system. That was my favorite lens as well. So I share your your love for that lens. Now though,
Yeah.
I'm in Nikon, so yeah.
Right.
Okay, right. So for everyone who is again just joining us, I'm seeing a lot of new names on our Facebook stream. So we just finished our third set with R2, and we are now terminating that feed to Facebook. So if you are still watching on Facebook, you can head on over to our YouTube channel and follow the rest of the uninterrupted stream there. I will now post a link to it in the comments, and you can just click that, and that will bring you to the party on YouTube. So there you go. So we have one more set left with R2, and that would be all the portraits that he has shot. We have his fashion work and his portrait work. So yeah, guys who are on Facebook, I'll see you guys on YouTube. So I am cutting that in now. Cool. All right. Great. Oh, there they are. They're here now. Okay, so again, this is Behind the Shot, where top visual storytellers share their best 3 shots. Okay, fine, 4 shots, and the great stories behind them. And we are powered by Deity microphones. This is our second to the last episode, and we have Artu Nepomuceno. So please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, and also follow us on Instagram, Artu Nepo and Noel Guevara Photo. While Artu focuses more on the advocacy for clean water. I am more for the climate change, for marine conservation, and for single-use plastic. So you have more human faces with R2, and you'll see more polar bear and shark faces on mine. So that is how it is. Okay, so you only use 35 and 55, and does that hold true also for your fashion and portrait shoots?
Yes, 100%. For everything, actually everything that I do, I run on a 35 and a 55. I don't remember the last time that I tried another lens and I truly enjoyed it. I think the last lens that I did use was probably a 100 millimeter macro lens for portraits. And as much as I did love the experience, there was just too many limitations to getting the shot. So
Yeah.
I love the 55 1.8 of Carl Zeiss because it's very fast in focusing. I think the one thing I truly hate when I shoot is the delay in terms of focusing, because sometimes the shot's already there, the frame, the emotion that a person is giving off is already there, but if you're out of focus, then it's not the best. It's not a good situation. It's not a good moment to have where you had the shot but you lost it because of some technical error.
Right. Okay, so yeah, from Chum, one of awesome episode, guys, one of my favorites of the season. And from Mitch De Leon, this is a pretty cool interview. Galing R2 and Ram Yoro is here, who was also our very first guest on Behind the Shot. Let's get into the post production of this R2. How much post work do you do with your photos?
um I think I'd be lying if I said minimal. I do a lot, but I don't do much manipulation. Meaning, I just do color grading, exposures, all of that. So there's no brushing. I barely do any brushing. If it's brushing, it's just to smoothen the skin of people, especially if it's women. Um, but when it comes to post processing, I try to keep it as simple in terms of the brushing and all of that, but
Mm-hmm.
it's heavy in terms of like exposure, the curves. I'm very particular to the decimal when it comes to those things.
Right?
Um, So I edit 100% on Lightroom. Everything is on Lightroom.
Okay.
And when I edit, basically, when I edit, I move every single meter to the maximum right and maximum left, and I look at how it affects the shot.
Okay.
And I do this in every single photo that I edit. So I have my preferences, but even if I have my preferences, I'll still explore
Right.
those extremes so that I know what the register is on the photo, because there's never, even if my lighting setup will be the same,
Mm-hmm.
or it's something, it'll never register the same. If my subject has the slightest difference in the texture of their skin, then it will affect like clarity, it will affect
Right.
textures.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so my question then would be, R2, let me ask you this. Let's say you're taking a photo, and then you say that it's a process of exploration from the moment you take the photo and to the finished product when you're doing post. So is it the same when you see it in your head, when you're doing your pre-prod? Are you seeing the same photo, which is the final photo? Or is it like, okay, I'm just going to have this and then let's see where it goes from there, what palette it's going to be, how does that work?
I think when it comes to the post processing, what is almost always correct from what I always try to make sure at least is, which is correct from pre production to production, is the lighting. That's something that I try as much as possible to have control of. So
Yeah.
I know what it's going to look like. My pre-production can be as late as 5 minutes before the shoot, or
Mm,
weeks before the shoot.
okay.
But before I click the shot, I know exactly how my light is going to fall. I think
Okay.
that for me is my most important
Yeah.
rule, that I know how the light is, because it for me, if I'm not inspired by my lighting, then I probably won't shoot the rest of it.
I
So
totally
I need
understand.
to make sure that I've got that on point.
Right.
And then when it comes to the post processing of colors, particularly, and the movements of exposure, that is something that I kind of do on the spot. Like I guess what makes my work coherent is I have a preference in terms of, I have a color palette that I do love. I have a set kind of exposure, set kind of balance that I lean towards. But I every time I edit, it's always from scratch, and I just explore.
Right.
And what really, really helps me choose colors or choose editing styles is my love for movies.
Right.
That's really it. So if I see in a shoot that something looks like, for example, the Katrina Razon
Yeah.
uh, shoot, that really when I saw this background, I immediately felt like it was a Great Gatsby theme
Right.
thing. So I immediately looked back into the Great Gatsby, and I looked at the color palette, and I looked at how the general editing, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull something from here
Yeah.
and apply it there. I want it to feel like this. So
That
yeah,
that's
that's kind of
interesting. I just
how
this for
my
the first
process.
time ever on the show, I took an Instagram shot story for this because I'm friends with Katrina and I was gonna tell her to watch this, and I saw this photo and it's incredible art too. Super. I like
Thank
how
you.
you mix the geometry with her their pose, and also we have this saying in film that the film that you write is different from the film that you shoot and the film that you edit. So I guess it
Right.
holds also true for you. The photo that you shoot and that you prepare for and then shoot and then edit in Lightroom is also, would you say, different from each other?
Yeah. I think like a lot of people that I've worked with have been able to point out that I have a particular style, and I think I can't completely agree with everyone because I'm
Yeah.
still looking for that, and I can't say that when I edit that I have a particular style, because it's always a changing experience. And
Yeah.
I think every time Lightroom announces a new addition to their editing software, then I always explore that new thing. So sometimes that completely changes the game. Or if I watch a documentary, or if I study hard on like Steve McCurry's photos or something
Yeah.
like that, and I'll see like, oh, there's a certain thing that he's doing. There's a certain crispiness and a certain level of clarity that he puts on his shots, and I challenge myself to try to achieve that in my editing. And if it looks good in my stuff, then I'll probably steal a little bit of his methods and put it into mine.
That's true.
Until I get the right recipe.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Thanks for mentioning that. That was what was reminding me of the photos from the Waste for Water was Steve McCurry's
Oh, thank
work.
you.
So that's great. Take that as a compliment, please. So that was
No,
that's amazing.
by all means I do, because like if you do go back, there's that portrait of the boy carrying his younger brother.
Right.
When I shot that, I immediately 100% thought of Steve McCurry. And when we got back to the Philippines after that trip, I told Meg that I'm gonna edit these, and I'm gonna edit it differently from my usual stuff. And what I did was I put my laptop down, I set up Lightroom,
Yeah.
and on my other monitor I left a Steve McCurry image on, and I
Right.
just kept looking side by side. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, what about this do I love, and how can I make my photo of this
Right.
as lovable as that shot, with still my what with my personal touch to it. So yeah.
And it's great. I noticed though that you also have this affinity for eyes. Like the sharpness of the eyes, for example. I have to say, this is a beautiful shot of a beautiful person, Isa, and amazing. This is one of my favorites from this set. But you do have this
Thank you.
penchant for the eyes, like here with Tito
Right.
Eddie.
Um, I think that came from my late grandfather. He was really my mentor all these years. He taught me almost everything, and he was always like kind of brainwashing into me that you can't that the power of a photograph comes through the eyes of the person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that doesn't necessarily mean that the person has to be looking at the camera, but there has to be something that makes the audience look deep into the eyes, or really try to focus something nice. It's sort of like looking into the bark of a tree,
Right.
counting the number of years. It's like that when it comes to I think that's how I feel when it comes to photographing people. Like, you can have all the texture in your face, like like Sir Eddie Garcia, but like, for me it was really like how he looked at the camera, how he
Yeah.
didn't look at the camera, and no matter what, it was really purely focusing on the eyes. So I don't know. For me, I guess that might be my personal thing. I'm not sure about how other photographers feel about it, but I am very much inclined to eye. So almost 100% of the time, I'll always ask people if they're wearing eye contacts to take it off. If they can't see me, that's fine. But I want no physical barrier between my camera and your eyes. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay. And wow, that was a very insightful look into the process and the way Artu approaches his photos. Artu, thank you for being very generous with that. No, this is really a perfect resource for those who are starting out, and actually any photographer in general. I learned a lot today, so I hope you guys did too. And Artu, your work for photography, you have portraits, you have photojournalism, and then you have fashion. I think a lot of people from different types of genres or different types of photography can really take inspiration from everything that you've shown to us right now. No, now the last thing I want to ask Artu is that do you have anything that you would like to say, a sort of a parting message to everyone who's watching, especially, and I have to include this, those who have been going through some difficulty in the past 3 months, especially they don't have work as photographers or videographers or visual storytellers. What can is there anything that you would like to say to them?
Oh, that's definitely a tough thing, because I can't say that I think I've handled I think my wife and I have carried ourselves very well in terms of the how we've been handling the pandemic. but I can't say that I've been as proactive with my photography since the pandemic. Actually, my camera broke right before the pandemic, so I haven't been able to shoot at all.
Right.
But if anything, to tell people is, what I always tell people who want to venture into photography, or who just are into photography, is photography requires a lot of passion. Um, Especially if you're in a country that doesn't pay that well, that doesn't pay photographers that well. It's it's a craft purely out of love. And honestly, like, I didn't expect that I'd get as much opportunities as I have now and be able to speak with a lot of people who I admire and respect if it wasn't for the amount of love and passion that I gave my craft. And but that doesn't mean, but I think one thing that people have to understand is that passion does not a passion and love for the craft doesn't mean that you have the talent by genetics, or by, it requires a lot of studying. I think to become a great photographer, become a great visual artist, you have to be able to really understand the craft, the technicality of lighting and everything.
Mhm.
So if anything, my advice to everyone who is not working as much as they want to as a photographer is to just study more about photography. When the time comes that you can get out there, you've got a lot more
That's true.
on your arsenal.
That's true. Well said. So yeah, I agree with R2. Photography is a calling. We had this long-standing joke that photography is like as an expensive mistress because it does demand that much commitment and time as well.
That's
And
true.
it is a skill. So if you don't practice it, it doesn't become you. So yeah, thank you R2 for sharing that with us, and thank you for putting a light on.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize it got so dark
It's
already.
okay. Sunny Thakur was dealing with the same problem on a Wednesday as well. So I guess that was what makes it interesting. All right, so guys, one last call for everyone who is watching. If you haven't yet, please do follow Artu Nepo on Instagram, Artu Nepo, and also please do follow me on Instagram as well, Noel Guevara Photo. And if you haven't, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell underneath the video so that you can get updated for more episodes. But we only have one episode left, so that is that. Now, R2, I will be saying goodbye. We will be saying goodbye to you now, but please stay on the Zoom conversation. I will just close the show. For you guys who are watching, please stay with me for a few more minutes. I will just share with you what we have in store for Friday. So, R2, thank you very much for joining Behind the Shot. Thank you very much for your generosity, man.
No, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Fantastic. Okay, I'll see you in a bit. All right, there you go. And as promised, I would like to share with you guys what we have in store for this week. So right now, we have had Shira, I keep on saying Shira Luna last Monday. And we had some technical difficulties. That episode was cut into two, but I was able to download it and then re-upload it again by circumventing YouTube's very, very strict and iron-fisted copyright policies. And then today we had Artu Nepomuceno, and then on Friday we have Jason Kibilan. And it's an interesting mix because Shira is more of your fluid, cinematic, nostalgic style photographer, and then you have Artu who's more gritty and more photojournalistic, and then you have Jason who will share with us his work on Esquire also. Similarly, his covers on Erwan Yusuf and that pig. Yes, you can see that pig on his head, and then that Ringo cover, and then he also shot then Mayor Duterte before he became president, and I remember that spread, that editorial created quite a stir, and I specifically asked him to talk about that and how he feels about that shoot, you know, years later. So that will be a very interesting end, and that is our final episode for Behind the Shot for season 1. Will we have season 2? Well, I think so. I can't think of it right now, but yes, we will definitely have another one. It will probably at a later time slot and a different mix. And but I am still planning for that right now, and for sure it'll happen. I don't know if it's that this year, but all the episodes that we've had for Behind the Shot are available on my YouTube channel. So that's why I'm asking you. And if you would consider liking and subscribing to this channel. And there are other shows here as well. Aside from Behind the Shot, I also have Hammerhead Gearhead, which is a gear review show. I also have epic travel videos as well and tutorials. And yeah, most of my work is here. So if you like conservation, photojournalism, videos, polar bear, sharks, turtles, everything, you'll find them here. So please do subscribe. And that is it for our Wednesday episode, our 22nd episode of Behind the Shot. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Chum, Michael Argalves, thank you for saying that it's an awesome episode. And Dodong, thank you for watching as well. So, guys, I will see you on Friday for our final episode. Thank you, and good night, and cheers.